Inventors and scientists. Sir Isaac Newton. Synopsis. Sir Isaac Newton developed the three basic laws of motion. He also came up with the law of universal gravitation. The two laws helped our understanding of physics and the universe. Early life and education. Isaac Newton was born in 1643. His father died and his mother moved away when he was 3. Newton grew up with his grandparents on a farm in England. As a child, he did not have many playmates. He had fun by thinking about the world around him. Newton did not play much with other students. Instead, he made wooden models, kites, sundials, and even a water clock. Newton's mother took him out of school when he was 15. She wanted him to become a farmer. The principal of Newton's school disagreed. He thought Newton was a genius. The principal convinced his mother to let Newton return to school. Newton went to Cambridge University in England from 1661 to 1665. He then moved back to his grandparents' farm for 2 years. During this time, he proved that white light was actually made up of all the colors. He also started to figure out calculus and universal gravitation. He did all this before he was 24 years old. Early discoveries. At his grandparents' farm is where the most famous story about Newton comes from. It is the story of how he discovered gravity. One day, Newton was sitting under an apple tree. He watched an apple fall to the ground. He wondered about it. He thought there must be a force that pulled the apple to the ground. It was the force of gravity. Could that force of gravity reach out to the moon and keep it in orbit around Earth? Perhaps that force extended through the whole universe. Newton became a professor of math at Cambridge. His lectures bored many of his students, but he did not care. He continued his own thinking and experiments. Laws of motion and gravity. Newton's most important book was written in Latin and published in 1687. It was called Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy. It was one of the most important books in the history of science. It explained Newton's 3 laws of motion and law of universal gravitation. To develop his laws, Newton used advanced math. He also designed and built his own telescope to study the stars and planets. Newton's 3 laws of motion. An object will only move if force is applied to it. A moving object will move along a straight line unless a force is applied to it. An object will move faster if force is applied to it. The pickup of speed will happen in the direction of the force. The bigger the object, the less it speeds up. For every action, there is always an equal and opposite reaction. Law of universal gravitation. Putting these laws together, Newton was able to develop the law of universal gravitation. The farther apart 2 objects are, the less gravitational pull there is between them. Newton's universe was a powerful idea. It said that all objects move according to the same laws. Everything from apples to planets obey the same unchanging laws. Newton combined physics, mathematics, and astronomy. He made a giant leap in our understanding of Earth and the universe. Newton came up with a new mathematical system for dealing with change. It is now called calculus. Newton did not publish his method, he just used it to solve problems. Later, German scientist Gottfried Wilhelm von Leibniz also figured out calculus. His system was easier to use. Newton accused Leibniz of stealing his ideas. Historians now believe that each invented calculus on their own. Newton was made a knight by Britain's Queen Anne in 1705. He died in 1727. Question. Use the remaining time to answer the questions below. Your answers to these questions will be scored. Also, they will help you think about the sources you've read and viewed, which should help you write your essay. You may click on the appropriate buttons to refer to the sources when you think it would be helpful. You may also refer to your notes when you think it would be helpful. Answer the question on a separate piece of paper. Number 1. Which paragraph from the second article best explains what sparked Newton's interest in gravity? Use the information from the first article to explain why this event might have caused Newton to ask questions about gravity.